Welcome back to the second video of my Java tutorial. In this video I'm going to talk to you about Java and adding it to the path, and I'm going to show you some of the problems you're going to run into when you do this. The path variable contains a list of directories that might be useful to us, and what it lets us do, it means that we can use the contents of those directories no matter where we are on our system. Now if that's kind of confusing, I've came up with this example, right? So let's say you're sitting in my office here and you say, John, pass the cup. Well, I'm in this office, so I would look around and be kind of like, what? Oh, I see. I would find a cup. I'd say, here you go, take the cup, right? But if you said, John, can you pass the hammer? Well, I would look around my office, I don't see a hammer here, and I'd be like, sorry, I can't help you. Now that's like when you're in the current directory of the JDK's bin folder and you say, Java. That's why the computer's able to find Java, because it can see it right there. Whereas if you're not in that folder and you type in Java, it can't find it. But if you were to give me a list of rooms that you expect me to check every time you ask me for something, well then you'd be like, John, get the hammer. I'd look around my office, I don't see it here. I'd walk into the kitchen, I shouldn't see it there. And then I'd walk into the garage and I probably should find it there because, you know, that's where you'd expect a hammer to be. So the path is like the list of rooms. It's just places that your computer is going to check when you ask it for something. So we're going to add the JDK's bin folder to the path variable so that no matter what directory we're in, we're going to always have access to Java and Javac and all the other stuff in there, but like you probably don't care about them for now. In the last video, I showed you about Java and Javac, the runtime environment and Java compiler. I also showed you that if you wanted to, you could open up PowerShell and you could call each program like this or like this. However, there's a problem. Let me show you these side by side, and I'll clear that. Both PowerShell and Windows Explorer here are in the same folder. You can tell by looking at the file paths, JDK bin and JDK bin. But look what happens if I go into PowerShell and I go back a directory. And watch how this house of cards falls down. Not with typos. Look at that. It can't find the java.exe because we're no longer in this folder. We're in this folder, and as you can see, it just doesn't exist here. So this is a massive problem, because this means that we have to always have all our Java and class files in the JDK's bin folder here in order so that the Java can pick them up. The Java can pick them up. Did I actually say the Java can pick them up? Come on, it's like my first time talking here. Either way, you get the picture. This isn't a good system. So what we want to do is add this folder to our path, so that every time we type in Java or Javac or any of these, we'll always be able to see them no matter where we are on our computer. So to add an environment variable, press the Windows key and X, press Y to open your system menu. Type in ENVI and go down to Edit System Environment Variables, press Enter. Tab all the way down to Environment Variables, and here we are. Now, technically, this is where we want to go, the path variable. You can click edit here and you can have a look at it. So there's already a lot of stuff here on my path. Now I don't want to directly put my bin folder here because I want to do something else. So let me just close this down. I'm going to create a new environment variable called Java home. And I'm going to put the JDK root as the variable value. Can't you see how easily that just came off the tip of my tongue? The tip of my tongue. Oh, John, what is wrong with you? So now that I have my Java home system variable, what I want to do is I want to add this to the path. So I click on edit down here on path and I'm going to click on new. First of all, put 2 percentage signs like this. And inside them I'm going to type in Java home. Now the 2 percentage signs are just saying, look, I'm not saying Java home is what I want you to look for. It's what Java home means. So basically it gets replaced with what I have in the Java home variable. So press OK. Now when we're done editing our environment variables, we have to press OK here to save them. This is important because if you don't do that, if you close it down, you're going to lose all that stuff. So reopening the environment variables like this, and you can see our environment variable for Java home is there, and our path should be updated. Oh no, it's wrong. I need to edit this because I don't want to point it to the JDK root, I want to point it to the bin folder. Like this. And I'm going to press OK. So what I've done is I've pointed my Java home variable is pointing to here, and my path variable it's pointing to in here. So let's test this out. I'm going to close down PowerShell because I need to reload it, and I'm going to reopen it again because you have to do this, because if you don't, it's always looking at the old environment variables. And I'm going to type in Java like this. I don't need the dot dash anymore. Now, you don't need the .dash here anymore because we're no longer executing Java from the current directory. We're executing it directly from the path. And press enter. Look at that. And let's show you the version. Java version 181. And that's exactly what we have here. Now, let me just show you something here. So if I go back here into environment variables, env, edit system environment variables, blah, like this. Now we use the Java home variable for a reason, because sometimes we have to work with different versions of Java. For instance, I'm working with Java 8 181 here. But let's say for some reason I was working on another project and it was only built to work with a different version of Java. Well, I could update it like this. First, I go back to my Java folder, which has all the different versions of Java I have on my computer here. I'm going to open up the previous version, which is 161, and I'm going to replace the Java home variable like this. And I'm going to press OK to save that, and I'm going to reload PowerShell. Like so. Java version. Wait, what? Oh, okay, hang on. I think I know what this problem is. Because I did a run through this video beforehand, I actually forgot about this. I actually, first of all, let me show you something. If I do Java C version, yeah, you see this works. It's looking at 181.161. So what do you think the problem is here? I'll tell you what the problem is here. I'm an idiot. Because what I was doing before this video is, as I was preparing my presentation, I accidentally deleted the Java executable from inside this version of Java. So if I look for Java, you'll see I have Java C here. I just don't have Java. Well done, John. Brilliant move. Now, it's not like I can get it back because I don't think I deleted it. I just think as I was moving things around, I kind of lost it. But that's okay. I can still show you something else because I have another version of Java here. A JRE 10.2. No, I'll use the JDK 10.2. And what I'll do is I'll just replace this version here with my replace my Java home variable with this. Oh, can you just sense the confidence in my voice? Edit like this. Okay that, okay this, close this, we've seen this loads of times now, reopen PowerShell, and Java, please work, please work, please work, please work. Yes! So you can see it's really easy for us to switch in and out different versions of Java like this all the time. And it's something that you have to do more and more if you're moving between a lot of different projects. Now, probably not if you're working on your own small project at home, but if this ever becomes a career choice where you're working for a big company and you're working across lots of different products, you'll have to get really familiar with this, because compiling a code base for one version of Java when it's meant for another is a pretty big boo-boo. But there is a little bit of a problem we have to be aware of, and let me show you this. So remember our hammer example. You said, John, go find the hammer. Well, imagine this. Let's say I look around my office, I don't see it there, then I walk into the kitchen, but somebody else has left a hammer lying around the kitchen. Well, I pick it up and I give it back to you, and you're like, yeah, this is a hammer, but it's not the hammer that I was expecting, because you were expecting the hammer that should have been in the garage. Okay, there's a lot of hammers in that sentence, but let me show you why this is a problem with Java. So if I go into my environment variables here and I look at my path, now every time we type in Java or Java C or whatever, we search this path for an application of that name. And what happens is we look through these folders sequentially, like we'll look here, then we'll look here, then we'll look here. But if we found Java here, that's it, we wouldn't look any further. So this is a bit of a problem, because if you ever have a rogue Java exe like I now have somewhere on my system, that makes it easier for you to call a version of Java that you're not expecting. Let me show you an example of this. So I'm going to go back here to my 10.2 JDK. Actually, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put this Java home back to 181 up here. I have to grab that here because I thought I could copy and paste it, but I can't, because I am too lazy to type that. So bang, bang, bang. Close this down, run a quick test. Java version 181. Okay, so let me get my rogue Java application. I'm going to go into JRE 10.2, take this from the bin folder, look for Java here. I'm going to cut this go into Java, go back to programs, and I'm going to put this in Node.js because that's exactly where Java belongs, in your Node.js folder. Now I did this for a reason, because again, if we look at that, I really need to stop closing this down. If we look at our path, come on. You can see that Node.js is searched in before our Java home variable. So, while last time I found 181, now when I do this, see, I'm looking at 10.2, which is this version of Java here. And it's kind of unexpected because you wouldn't think that would happen, because you could be looking here and being like, I don't understand. My Java home variable, it looks like it's correct, it's pointing at 181, but because I have that rogue Java exe, you're getting something different. Now a good solution to that is, well, I can't use it in PowerShell because it doesn't seem to work, so I'll go back to command prompt. So if you just press the Windows key, type in CMD and open up your command prompt. And type in where Java. So where Java searches the whole path for Java. And you can see here it says, well look, you got a java.exe in Node.js, and you got a java.exe in this bin folder of the JDK folder as well. It also shows you the order, so you can see here, hey look, we're calling this guy first. You can do the same thing for Java C, but I don't think it's a problem because I only have one Java C and it's sitting in the correct directory. Actually, I can prove that here. If I open, well, I don't need to open up PowerShell because you can also call Java and Java C from command line. Oops, not Java, but Java C. This is also something you have to be aware of. Right now, if I was to just call Java and Java C on any of my Java files, I'd technically be compiling my Java code to 181 while running it against this 10.2, and that's another problem you guys should watch out for. So always make sure that your Java and your Java compiler are on the same version. Okay, so that was a longer video than I thought. So in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about the class path and I'll explain what that is. So yeah, stick around and see you in the next one.